You want to be a freelancer. You must like pain and suffering. Freelancing is hard. I made a video talking about why I think that freelancing is better than full-times, and I feel like some people misinterpreted that video. First of all, anything that you yap about on YouTube or anybody that you hear yapping on YouTube is their opinion on things and on situations. So unless they're like, I don't know, a politician or something where they're kind of like, you can't really hold people to their opinions. Like if you're watching any YouTuber, it's going to be their opinions and their experience. So I think in that way it was the video was misinterpreted a little bit, where people just were like, that's not been my experience. And it's like, well, I'm clearly stating that that's my experience, is that the job market for media jobs is generally kind of mediocre. And sure, you can luck into a job that's pretty decent. That does exist. There are good editing jobs or good media jobs, or you get into news and you have like benefits and all this stuff. And that's great. Usually few of those positions are good and have all of the good stuff about being full-time employed. And they're kind of hard to find. They're kind of hard to get. So that was my whole point with that, is that you'd have an easier time getting a real job in other fields than trying to get a real job in media. But now I'll talk about the pitfalls of freelancing. Freelancing is like an emotional roller coaster that you can knock it off of. It's like a treadmill. It's literally a treadmill. Like sometimes you're just running like a hamster and you're literally going nowhere. It's hard. I don't want people to think it's easy. It's actually very hard. It's why I'm personally making YouTube videos, because it's an outlet for me to do this when I'm not busy, or when I'm less busy, or when I have some free time on my hands to just do something creative and do something. That doesn't mean it's not hard. In fact, actually, I'd probably say freelancing is harder than just getting a job, just getting a cushy job where you clock in and you clock out. And I'm going to describe some of the negatives. Some of the negatives are, mostly my personal biggest negative is people. And what I mean by that is people in your lives will doubt you. They will sometimes ask you, like, what are you doing with your life? It's hard. That's honestly like the hardest aspect. And seeing other people in your life are just doing better. When you're busy, it's great. Like, you just don't have to worry about that. It's like putting horse blinders on and you just get to ignore the noise. When you are not busy, you certainly do think about all of the people in your life that have normal jobs are like, I could be doing that. I could be like just doing like a normal job and it would just be less pain. It's also tough when you're not busy and then you look at social media and everybody else is busy and they're doing like the coolest jobs. They're like on a racetrack filming some race car driver, or they're like in a sound stage filming on the latest and greatest 3D virtual stage, and you're like sitting at home playing World of Warcraft or something. That can be really tough about freelancing, is just when everybody else is busy and you're not busy. I guess when you've had a long stride of being busy and then that happens, you're kind of like, well, it's all good, I'm chilling, I get a break. But when it's kind of been on and off, which for myself and a lot of freelancers, it's kind of been on and off this past like year, maybe two, it does wear on you, where you're like, oh, well, what am I gonna do with myself now? Should I do something else? Should I like pursue another career? And then you realize, like, I don't really have that many skills. Like, is video like really something that people want that much of? They do, but usually they want video when times are good and they want to promote something. But when things are bad, it's like the first thing to get cut. They don't really need video. They don't really need marketing. They don't really need sales that much. I mean, sort of sometimes, but yeah, I have gotten text messages and stuff of friends of mine getting laid off, even the people with real jobs. So it's like a weird time right now. But yes, freelancing, it's like gambling. It's like a casino where the price is usually really big and enticing, but you lose a lot, if that makes sense, right? So when it's working and you're kind of making your own schedule and you're your own boss and you're denying the gigs that you don't want to do and you're doing the gigs that you do want to do, and your schedule's also freed up, so like you could take the best jobs and go to the coolest places and do the coolest things. When you're in a rhythm of that, it's the best thing in the world. and you're like, ha, look at all these losers. Look at all these losers that are not doing this. But then when you're not busy, it's like, oh, I'm the loser. I'm the dumb person. It's just a constant emotional roller coaster. And honestly, like, I sometimes am burnt out of it. I kind of like sometimes just want to get like a job and then do YouTube or do something as like my creative outlet, because it's tough and there's a lot of competition too. It's like a lot of people want to do a media job. They want to because it's fun. It's yeah, you pay the passion tag. It's a fun job. You're not like working construction in the sun or something. I mean, sometimes video can be physical, but for the most part, it's a fun job. Like you're creating ads or you're creating a movie or you're creating TV shows. It's a fun job. It's like anybody would want to do it. Yeah, that makes the competition for it really tough. And I think the opinions of other people and just, I guess, like kind of constantly having to prove that you're doing something, or you can't, like, unless you have an office, you kind of sometimes have to prove to people that you're doing stuff. Like they just, if you're home all day or if you're home a lot, they think that you're not actively doing anything. But there's so much like background stuff that goes into it, like emails and just trying to keep up connections and networking and keeping up your website, keeping things up to date, running ads potentially. When you get hired for a job, for the most part, you're just kind of doing that job. Like if you get hired as a photographer or you get hired as a videographer, like you're going to be doing that. When you're freelancing, you're doing everything. You're the salesperson, kind of like front desk person where you're replying to emails and stuff. And eventually, yeah, you can hire somebody to do that stuff. So continuing my yap about freelancing, you kind of just have to fill your schedule sometimes with stuff like going to the gym and fictitiously acting like you're busy. Well, you're not acting like you're busy, but you know, you have to keep your mind off of the pain and suffering. And yeah, it's tough sometimes. You just look at people's videos and they're all super busy and you're just being a creeper in a park. If you ever want to feel like a giant goober, just go and film yourself in public. It's the most embarrassing thing ever, at least for me. I don't know how Casey Neistat does this. I don't know how there's a lot of YouTube jappers now that just talk about their lives, and they go to like a random neighborhood or a random park and then they just yap, and I'm like, this is so embarrassing to me. Like, just probably look like, if anybody's watching me, which is a, you know, random like Tuesday or something, which I guess is the bonus of freelancing, is that you can do stuff like this. But I'm here yapping to myself in a park and it's super embarrassing. Oh my god, there's a runner coming up to me. But yeah, freelancing is hard. Just anything that you do in video is hard. Just anything that you do in media is hard. I guess don't get discouraged and just do it anyways, because what are you going to do? Like, just not do it at all? I mean, I guess you could go stare at a wall or something, but I don't know. I think it's worth the pain to just do it and just, you know, just for the naysayers. I think it's important when you're freelancing to just make little goals for yourself, whether that be like a goal relating to video, like improving your photography and going and just taking pictures of random stuff, or whether that be something like doing 10,000 steps a day, which I have been doing. The entire month of June, I did 10,000 steps. And those little goals I feel like are really important, you know. Just to keep your sanity, keep you working on something.